Namaste everyone. Welcome to Advaita Vedanta Satsang House. Today being Sunday is an open discussion on Advaita. And as always, Bindoji always reminds us that if you have any doubt that needs clarification, there needs to be no hesitation from your side to come up and ask the question and engage in a discussion. If it's a discussion or a question, please come up. I'm also pasting the links for our regular rooms. Right now is the Bhagavad Gita. We are on chapter 4. And then there are other rooms that were conducted earlier on Aparokshanubhuti, Upanishads, and a few other topics related to Advaita. And these are all available as replays in Clubhouse, or you can go to the link, Advaita Retold YouTube channel link, where you can access these talks. You can also access them on two other links, which is the Apple podcast and the Spotify. And then today we have Artemisia with us. She has penned a book titled Imaginary Door, which has been published and it's available on Amazon, which are the discussions Artemisia has had with Bindoji, and she has a collection of Bindoji's insights into Advaita and the nature of that approach to understanding the reality.
Actually, let me just,
Go ahead, Artemisia.
I was just going to add to that actually, for those who aren't aware, these were discussions that many of the people who are here today had with Bindo. They were when he wasn't teaching any classes a couple years ago and just coming into rooms. And so it moves a little bit farther away from just the consideration of text to really fundamental Advaitic topics. And not only is the text re-edited for ease and taking out parts that were less relevant or packed, I guess, with rich insights and pointers. Most of all the Sanskrit was translated, and most of it doesn't appear at all. It's in English, and Bindo reviewed this to make sure he was comfortable. There are a few words that are used a lot, like Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, the Mahavakyas themselves, and a few other words that are shown in Sanskrit as well to help people get more of a connection. So a big part of the book was to make it available to anyone in the world who could speak English. And so that was part of the hope. I just wanted to share that, and it focuses a lot on really fundamentals like Adhyasa and so forth. So, and I'm saying that without any real attachment to the book. It's priced. If people sometimes wonder if this was some project for me, it's not. I spent thousands of hours on it over a year and a half. And for instance, the total amount of money that's come back to me is less than $100. So it's very much trying to be a gift to the world for anyone who's interested. I just wanted to clarify some of that. People have funny ideas about these things. So there you go. Okay, thank you, Prakash. Yeah, I would encourage anyone to come up.
Thank you, Artemisia, for having put together those words into a simpler and readable book, which, as per Bharat, is one of the good coffee table reference book on Advaita. And a lot of people had responded to the similar way about the way in which, they have found the book useful for them. Namaste, Bharat.
I just want to testify my words in my words. The reason
Yes.
the minute you say this coffee table, it might give a little different impression to different people. So I thought let me just say that in my own words what I told you also. It's an amazing coffee book from the point of view that that book doesn't require that we need to start from page 1 and then go subsequently to page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5. So we can randomly turn any page and we will land into the reminiscence of these clubhouse discussions. And the language, I think it's so easy to digest. So there are quite a few qualities of that book, very difficult to express that. The reason I mentioned that coffee table reference is because while I understand that there is a online version available, there is so much more importance attached to it if somebody holds a physical copy. Coffee table books are physical copies. Some of the difficult curated copies are what we call as coffee table books, and this is one of those very difficultly put together kind of a collection of these thoughts and discussions. I think great deal of thank you I owe to both of you, Bindoji as well as Artemisia ji. Sorry, I'm not getting the words properly. I don't know why. But nonetheless, the thing about this book is both in terms of its language, the way we can digest it, and the kind of structure. It's so nice. We can randomly pick any page, and that's where I say it's a coffee table book. And I use that reference primarily to emphasize the fact that if possible, please pick a physical copy than just an online copy. You can't really bookmark. You can't directly do that, flip over random page and things like that. This is one book where at a time you wish that you had your fingers on 4 pages at a time. And that's possible only when it's a physical copy. So that's what I meant to say by coffee table book. But this is such a brilliant thing. I'm still in awe with it. You can just pick any page. And the flow also. Having said all of that, it's not like without a structure. There is a lot of structure also in this book. So if anyone still doesn't have a copy, my strong recommendation, if you guys enjoy these sessions, the last 4+ years, I think we have developed a lot of companionship, spending a lot of time brooding over these thoughts around spirituality. If you enjoy these topics, that book is a must. It just takes us back to all of those 4+ years of thought exchanges. It's just a good reminiscence of all of this. Thank you. Thanks again, Bindoji. Thanks again, Artemisia, for all of this. I'm greatly indebted. Thankfully for me, somebody was coming from the US and I could get a copy for myself. I don't know if it's available in India physically, but at that time I had to get it from the US. Somebody was traveling, fortunately, so I could get myself a physical copy.
Those are really kind words. Thanks. It's great to hear your voice. I miss the old days of Clubhouse where I could find more of you easily. But anyway, that was very kind. But we should move on to give other people opportunities also to come up.
Prakash, you have any of your last week points which are needing clarification?
Yes, Bindoji, the point is, it's not directly connected to because you talk about the shift from the karma to jnana, right? So in the context, of common language, we talk about, especially in Sanskrit, they use the word sakshi bhava. So a lot of times people ask, there is the thinking going on, and then there is the sakshi bhava. So is there a clear discernment, and how does a practitioner? So maybe you can contextualize it in terms of the Sravana Manana, Nididhyasana, Bindoji.
See, the Sakshi Bhava aspect is much later in the process of Sravana Manana Nididhyasana. See, the listening part, Sravana, is the beginning, as we all know, which we have been doing by my rooms, and other rooms were conducted by others also, which you might have been attending. The topics which are being referred to here, all of these places, are concerning about our true nature or true identity. But if it is being heard it as a topic of intellectual understanding and logical, analytical way of looking at it, you are going to miss the shift which I am talking about. Because the identification which we all have got to the body, mind, and the sense organs, etc., is being asked to be looked at as tools or instruments for us to communicate or transact in an empirical world. They are not truly us. Now, this can be known only from what we have learned as Shravana. When we move into form of a manana, where it is mentally, we relive it, those what we have learned at the mental level by our emotions, our approach, our attitude. All those things constitute the manana aspect of it. And from that, we will be able to take the chaff out of a grain-like thing, where we can segregate between what is being referred to as the individual and the tools for the individual for communication. That segregation between the inner core and the outer appearances which we all have, that will get more and more clearer as the Shravana or the mental analysis keeps going on. This is the time when the Sakshi Bhava or the witnessing nature will get more and more crystallized in us to look at our own body not as us but as our instruments for transaction. Our mind is a tool instrument for us to emote, feel, exhibit, etc. When it comes to intellect, we have the analytical capability, we have the nature in which we normally, apply logic to the questions or the doubts where we have. Of course, I don't have to talk about the sense organs which is used for the assessment of the world of objects outside. But when we shift and see them through the tools, not as I am seeing, I am hearing, I am tasting, etc. Instead of that, my tongue is tasting, my eyes are seeing, my ears are hearing. And what is being heard, tasted and touched all are being assessed by my mind, which is also an instrument. And that assessment is now being conditioned by my innate tendencies, my qualities in me, which makes me either happy or rejected or angry, lustful, greedy, all those emotions which comes up in the mind. Those things we will not identify with ourselves. Those will be seen as reactions of the mind and the agitations in the mind. And when it is being seen in the mind, that is when the Sakshi becomes really a separate entity, which has the awareness, but at the same time doesn't have an identity which we were holding on to with the body, mind and sense organs, etc. Now this Sakshi Bhava or the shift to the witness, when we do that, over a period, it will be easy for us in our day-to-day activity to continue our activities as a witness rather than our old habit of identifying with the mind and intellect, etc. This is the time when it is more moving towards a nididhyasana aspect, or where the confirmation or conviction that I am not the mind or the intellect or the sense organs, but I am the awareness which is even aware of these agitations, emotions, feelings, thoughts, etc. in my mind also. When this is understood by a person, that person becomes equanimous and settled, and he doesn't get agitated by what mind is agitating about or what the mind is happy about, both will be seen as events or the reactions of the mind. And that individual is a person who emanates peace, and he is at peace with himself, and in his presence others also will feel a serenity or a tranquility and a peace with which you can interact with such a person. This is the ultimate aim in this life, which is called a liberated living in this world, in the continuing to do the body in activities as what is required. So this is what is the akartrutva, what is being spoken in the fourth chapter, or the non-doership. All the doing that is happening at the mind, intellect, or the sense organ driven are done by the instruments because my presence demands it. But it is not that it is my demand, my mere presence make them functionable. When my presence is withdrawn, that is in my deep sleep, these instruments are present, but they are not functional. This will make us clear and liberated that what is my liberated state is present even in my waking and in my dream and all the time. That is the total, what we call it as Jivan Mukta Avastha. So this transmission from identifying as a human being with the mind, intellect and the sense organs agitated, reacting, etc., to a liberated person who doesn't get affected by any of these things. This is the journey or the shift what is being spoken about.
Yes, thank you very much, Binduji. Because a lot of people, when they, especially not in the Sravana Manana method, but who have absorbed ideas about meditation and other ways of a regular practice, the separation between this, what is thinking and what is meditating, becomes a very blurry line for many people, because they sit for a while and then they are in a space of no thoughts, but when they come out, there is no clarity. And I think that's why, in the Manana Nididhyasana, the clarity is specified in many different ways. So that's why I was asking.
The meditation, what happens is that we are only controlling our mind, but we are not making a disassociation with the mind to see mind as a instrument and I am not the mind. The meditator thinks that this mind is where I am operating at and I need to quieten it. And when the mind is quiet, I am quiet. That is what the meditator will think. That's why when he comes out of the meditation, any small disturbance, he can become angry or agitated by that. That means all the meditation, what it was done was giving him peace of mind while he was sitting at meditation. But it has not altered his identification or altered his nature of, who he is thinking about himself. That is the difference between meditation and Shravana Manana Nididhyasana.
Yes, thank you, Binduji. I think we have Yash and Srini on stage. So
yep.
One of you can.
Namaste, Yash.
Had mentioned in the chat there is some network issue. So maybe Srini.
Oh, maybe Srini, you can go?
Yes.
Srini, you can go ahead.
Looks like Srini also has.
Srini also.
Oh, there.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, Srini. You are audible now. Namaste.
So, Binduji, I have a question, because this shloka went for 3 days, right? So, as a summary, I was comparing this Brahma Arpanam, Brahma Havi shloka to one more shloka, which is Brahma Vedam Amritam Purastat Brahma Pasyat Brahma Dakshina Tasyottarena Adasya Utvan Prasutam Brahma Vedam Viswamidam Varustam. So if we compare these two, do you think they are exactly identical? They're talking about the same thing, or is there any difference between what one shloka is said? Because here the Yajna thing is, the example of Yajna is taken. There is no straightforward example. But to me, it feels easier if I take the template of that other shloka from Mundaka Upanishad to understand this. So do you think something extra is there here to understand, or both are same?
See, that there both the verses are conveying the one Mahavakya, Sarvam Khalidam Brahma. Both are conveying the same thing. Whereas the Mundakopanishad mantra, or it is there in Chandogya also, where 7th chapter, where Sanaka and Narada Samvada is there, it is also there, what it conveys is, it is the expression of the person who has identified himself as Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi, who has realized. His statement is that what Brahma is in front, Brahma is behind me, Brahma is super, Brahma is on right, Brahma is on left. And whatever I see here and everything is Brahman. That is the experience of the person who has realized as Aham Brahmasmi. Whereas here, Krishna is talking about Atma being Akarta, non-doer. Now, how does the non-doership is experienced while Jivan Mukta, remaining as a Jivan Mukta, is what is the intent behind this Brahmarpanam Brahmavi in the 4th verse study. There, he continues that the verse is during the Vedic period. So he is continuing to do the Vedic rituals of Arpana, Havish, Homa, etc. And at the same time, he also had Brahmaiva Tena Gandhavyam. So he is saying that ultimately everything is Brahman only, which also is saying the Sarvam Khalidam Brahma. So one is from the point of view of a Jivan Mukta in action, whereas the other, it is a Jivan Mukta, he is ranting about his own experience.
I think there is a strong parallel between Brahmaiva Tevana Ganthavyam and Brahmaiveda Viswamidam Varishtam. So
yes,
the ending seems to be similar, right? Yeah, that's what right. This is more practical or palatable in Gita. There it feels like a rant. Yeah. So in that context, because on the face of it, just if we look at the basic meaning of the shloka, it gives an impression of a Abhinna Nimittopadana Karana Brahma kind of thing, right? So versus the other shloka doesn't have that flavor. So eventually, so any comments on that? That Abhinna Nimittopada Karana versus the other thing, I don't know, we can call it Sakshi or even higher.
In the Gita, there is no Upadana or Nimitta or any Karana referred here. It is the, what you call, living as a Brahman. Whereas in other one, if you see that, when he is starting with the Upanishad talks about the creation and all experiential part of it. So there the tendency to use the Abhinna Nimittopadana Karana for that non-differential nature of the cause and effect in the Brahman, in the Mundaka Upanishad, is what is being the theme there. Whereas here, it is not talking anything about creation or anything. Living in creation. Here it is more of a practical aspect there rather than the theory of it.
Thank you, Binduji. Beautiful. I think very nice.
Thank you, Srini. Yes, is your network better?
Yes.
Yes.
Connected to Wi-Fi. So, Binduji, I have heard some other commentaries also, like the one from Swami Chinmayananda. He's also considering the verse 4.26 in two categories, where the yajna is only in two categories. One is shama and other is dama. And the elaboration which you did was a totally different category, different elaboration from the, I think, from the Shankar Bhashya. I'm referring your Shankar Bhashya category, and maybe you will tell why you went into much deeper aspect. But the main question here is if you can explain the second paradoxical yajna once again. That is one question. And then the second question is, if we consider that paradoxical yajna as a sadhaka activity, what is seem to be true, that the yajna is also a universal entity or a universal reality which is taking place, or the only the seeker has to think that he is offering and the yajna is happening in a universal level. Which one of it is true? So these two-part question is there. One.
See, as far as the Chinmaya mission, Chinmayanandi's lecture and my explanation in this one, there is no much of a difference except that I have included Uparati and Titiksha into the category, because these are all internal controls like Sama, Dhamma for the controls of the senses and controls senses from internal point of view. You have to also withdrawal of the sense organs and forbearance as a reaction to the sensual inputs. So I included all the four so that a totality picture is given in the yajna part of it. Whereas Swamiji has addressed only the sense organs part of it, Shama and Dhamma, which is one is external control, one is internal control. That is the only difference. Otherwise, there is no marked difference between the two. So that is one first aspect. Second thing is that since we have not completed the Yajna Prakarana, which will be ending only at the 33rd verse with the knowledge being Jnana Yajna as the requirement, as the final one, you need to wait for the full picture to come. But since you have asked the question, every activity that is happening in the world, whether the wind is breezing, whether the sun is shining, whether the rain is falling, all from the nature's activity to the cosmic movements of the planets, and to the individual grain movement due to a water flow in a stream or even a breathing of an ant. You can take anything from the cosmic level to the micro level. Everything is considered as an act of yajna, because everything has a contribution of in their own capacity in upkeeping of the nature and the nature's activity. And the nature, Prakriti, is nothing but Brahman itself in its own expression. It is not Brahman is different, the Prakriti is different. No. So kameta buhusyam prajayedi. Let me think, let me become many. And ajayamano bahuda vijayete. Without becoming many, he appeared to have become many. So the nature which we call it as, when you see it as a Brahman, these activities are Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavi, Brahmagno, Brahmana Udam. Every level, every activity is a yajna. Yajna, the word meaning yajna is to yajanam. Yajanam means to cooperate and endeavor. In the cooperative endeavor, everyone is contributing in their might to make the nature sustain everyone. And anyone who is going against it on his egoistic, self-aggrandizing nature or personalized this thing, he is called a Kripana or a Mithyachara. These are the two words used in Bhagavad Gita. Either he is a miser or he is a hypocrite. These are the two words which is being used. So such people are not in tune with the nature. So they may appear to be gaining some time, but in the ultimate end, they will be left alone by the nature itself. So this is what the Gita is teaching us. You take care of the Sahayatnya praja srishtva pura vaja prajavati. When the Creator created, every creation was given. Sahayatnya means along with the creation, the attitude of yatnya, or the quality of yatnya in everyone is built in. It is the nature of living itself is a yatnya. That is how the whole Bhagavad Gita is talking about the yatnya aspect in this, particularly fourth chapter, 22nd onwards to 33rd verse, which is going to talk about it. So we have completed only the two aspects of it, two verses of the Yatnya Prakarana. The remaining 4 verses will be talking about pranayama and dravya, etc. And that time you will become more and more clear that what is its relationship with the world as a yajna.
So Binduji, when I was talking about the example from Swami Chidananda, the two yajna is categorized into one yajna as sama and second yajna as dhamma. Not the category like how you have categorized the one yajna of nivritti and the second yajna of pravritti. So in that sense, the question was there. Right. And
Swamiji, what has done there is that those who are withdrawing from the external thing, or those who are doing the external activities, are called the one which is in the external living. They are all called sadhakas. But those who are doing it at the internal level are the people who are with the knowledge doing it from an internal perspective view. That way he categorized into 2 categories, that's all.
Would you be elaborating this other yajna?
See, yes, the other 2 yajnas which are Uparati and Titiksha is also part of the jnanis, or the one who have completed the complete of the withdrawal from the world outside. But when they are doing...
No, Binduji, I'm not talking about the first one where you have categorized the 4 parts into first category, but I'm only talking about the second yajna where the Vishaya is oblated and given into the yajna, the Indriya Vishaya.
Right.
Yes.
The second category are the people with the knowledge that Vishayas are also Brahman. The consuming Indriyas are also Brahman. So, the Havis is also Brahman. The Agni is also Brahman. That way, the second category people do not see a difference between the Vishayas as a thing which is separate, which needs attraction, or which will have a desire or such of a mental attitude to be developed. Whereas for a sadhaka, the first category, still they do not see it as part of the whole picture of Brahman. For them, the Vishayas are separate and the Indriyas are separate. Therefore, they do it as a sadhana, whereas here, they have already realized it as both are Brahman, so their approach is different.
One word you explained as so it was not towards the whole process, but you said consecrated engagement. So
yes.
Would you say the consecrated engagement becomes the whole consecration itself?
Yes.
Then this is the path of the second people.
Second people, right. Because they know that there is non-difference between the Indriya and the Vishaya.
Right. Yeah. Thank you, Binduji. Yeah.
Thank you, Yash. Namaste, Vinod.
Namaste, Binduji. Actually, I wanted to ask a question not from the syllabus, not whatever you are covering. So if anybody else wants to ask that type of question, they can basically ask, I think, higher priority.
Yeah. It's not necessarily on the subject here. In general,
just to finish off the earlier discussion, since we need to get just one quick question. It is also having some strong correlation to the Mahavakya Aham Brahmasmi, because that shloka also starts with Brahmava idamagrasi Atmanamave, right? So this whole thing, not only Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma, but seems more correlated to Aham Brahmasmi Mahavakya also, right?
Yeah, in the Mundakopanishad, it is Aham Brahmasmi is a statement of realization, and what does he experience is Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma.
Yeah, I mean, in the Brihadaranyaka, the Aham Brahmasmi, maybe then when we cover that we can talk about it, but that shloka also starts with Brahmava idamagrasi, right? So
right, there that Gargi and Yajnavalkya, Gargi asked Yajnavalkya, what is this whole world is Odaprotam. Odaprotam means web and woof, or the cloth, the horizontal and vertical, with which it becomes a cloth. Like that, this whole world or the whole universe, what is that in which it has come up about? She is comparing the whole universe as a cloth, which has got horizontal threads and vertical threads. So she is that Odaprotam she is asking. For which Yajnavalkya said, that is the word, the Brahma. Brahma eva. That is what the Aksharam Gargi, that is the word he uses there.
Thank you, Binduji. Yeah, looking forward.
Thank
you. We go there.
Yep.
Yeah, Binduji, my question is that it seems like all the variations in interpretation of Upanishads and all, Advaita and all, ultimately have got to do with the fact that Shankaracharya gave a certain way where it is actually independent of any way of interpreting it. In the sense that, like, if I'm looking at how a particular philosophy is covering what the nature of reality is, then it will probably explain with certain starting point, and then then how things evolved or how whatever, all those kind of things. Whereas Shankaracharya depends on you to intuitively realize that the nature is like this without any dependency on anything. Ultimately, there are no pramanas. Right? The pramanas could be required to kind of consider that approach, where people even consider that, okay, this is one of the possibilities of how the reality could be. But ultimately, the real understanding can only happen by certain insights or something with which the real truth. Now, that whatever is not really handled or explained well, that nobody talks about it. Because it's not a pramana in me. Because there's no thing there, because it's kind of kind of thing, right? Or kind of things. So this. First, would you agree that
are you in Mysore?
At the last, there's no pramana, and second, if there is no.
Your connection is.
Are you in Mysore?
No, I'm in Pune, but
it's been very robotic.
Okay.
I heard your question. I can answer that, but I was thinking whether you are in Mysore because the signals were very, very intermittent, breaking.
No, I'm in Pune only, but I don't know why the signal is bad. Okay.
Okay. Now the question is that Vinod, there are two things which we have to understand. The science has called a falsity, if it is falsifiable or not, is what based on which the science is approaching to a knowledge subject. Whereas Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta or Vedanta in general, is talking about Atindriya Jnanam. Atindriya Jnanam means what cannot be known through the sense organs or perception or knowledgeable things within the means of internal or external sense organs. What cannot be known an inquiry toward that. For that purpose, there is no evidence, falsification or anything that is possible. Therefore, Shastra is the only pramana, in the sense that the statements of people who have done inquiry and ranted about it, which had become what we call it as the Upanishads. From their experience, Iti Shushruma Purvesham, how they have transmitted it from the generation to generation, even today, after millenniums after millenniums, it is being transmitted and people are vouching that yes, it is verifiable and proven to them. Those who embark upon it is done. So, pramana, when you say about pramana, means the means of knowledge, is in the method in which it is being told by Shankaracharya, where he says that if you have a doubt, this is told in the Upanishad. That is all there. But he is talking about he very clearly says, what I am talking about is from not anybody's experience and logic. These through Nyaya or Tarka or Anubhava. These are the two words he uses. Is for anyone to verify whether these statements are true or not, if he is willing to take the trip in this direction. Now, if he is successful or not will depend upon his earnestness and how he is going to follow that. But at the same time, Shankaracharya is also saying one thing. Even if the Veda or the Upanishad says that there is midnight in the afternoon, no blind man also will believe it. Forget about people with sense organs. Even blind man will not accept it because he has heard it from authentic sources that in the noon there cannot be midnight. So such a thing that when he says that this is what it is, same is the case with the pramanas of the Shastra. Shastra can be taken as valid provided you work toward that and you experience what is being told by the Shastra, then you become the pramana or you become the valid means of knowledge. Until then, you may refer to the Upanishads as a referential point, but that is taken as a valid means only when it becomes true to you. This is what Shankaracharya's approach is there. So that is why people who are not depending upon the Shastras, they have no valid means of knowledge other than intuition or what they call it as my experience. They may say it is my experience, but then when somebody else is saying that how do I know whether your experience is right or wrong, they have no means to refer back and say it is true to me, so it should be true to you. That nobody will accept in today's world. Where in a scientific world, it is you need a data and falsification of the data is not possible. Therefore, the data is true. Is the method in which science is going. That type of a approach is not possible for this because this is an internal experience. It cannot be proven to anybody else by showing it what my experience or anybody's experience for that matter. Is this what you have asked?
No, actually, no. What you said 100% true. Because very clearly, we have this thing to even consider, right? So all this information is there, even for us to consider that something like this is there. So without that, how would anyone even go in that direction? But finally, when you said it is your internal experience, we know that it is not an experience like samadhi and all, right? It is even beyond that.
Yes.
Yeah. So that is why there is something which is there, which is not... definitely it is not knowledge. And then I learn from Shastras, but I keep it in my mind. I know the knowledge. Of course, it is not that. And of course, it is also not the experience that people normally claim, samadhi or very deep kind of experiences. So,
Vinod, can I suggest you something? Vinod, can I suggest you something?
Somehow we come to know that this awareness is source of adaptation.
Vinod, can I suggest you something?
Yeah.
If you are connected to Wi-Fi, disconnect from Wi-Fi and go to your mobile. Because Wi-Fi network is being used by all the people who are watching IPL. So there will be a bandwidth problem in the Wi-Fi. But if you use mobile, you will be able to use it. Just try that.
We're still missing some of your words and it's difficult to listen.
I'm using mobile only, but I think people watch IPL on mobile data only, so it's not working. It is okay. We'll discuss specifically. Maybe I'll send a WhatsApp message.
Your voice are breaking. I can guess what you are saying, but others may not be able to guess what you are saying.
Maybe you could reframe the point for us. I mean, some of us are getting it, but
yeah. No, see, basically, Vinod is coming to say that people who are using the knowledge from the books are talking from the point of view of intellectual knowledge and talking about it, but it has not become their personal experience, a knowledge type of an experience, not an experience like a meditation or any experience which you recognize through the mind or intellect. So what he wants to make the difference between these two aspects of it, mainly.
Yeah, I feel like he often has said something like this over the years, which is that to study the books and have ideas in our head is also as useless.
Yes.
Like you said, you used to emphasize this a lot when you were teaching. What were you teaching? Nasadiya Sukta. You really, and some of the Upanishads in 2024, you really emphasized that we have to hear the intended meaning, not the literal meaning. That just learning what is said is not enough. There has to be an intuitive capacity to feel into what's being said. All these things that are being taught, in my view, are only in the service of pointing us to something that couldn't be said anyway. And I'm going to say something else because it's important to me. And I think some of the people here are never going to study the scriptures and are never going to know Sanskrit. And I think it's really important to realize that while the things that you teach in the Upanishads they're brilliant in terms of trying to point to something that isn't actually literally in the words, that although there may be a downside to just relying on one's intuition, so to speak, and many people would make errors, that there are many other ways that this gets pointed to in other books, in other religions, and that there are people, a rare person, who will find it through their own intuition. And I wouldn't want to negate that, because then people feel that they're shut out from something that they could somehow get if they could just read Sanskrit or they just had more time to study. That there was some, I'm rarely in your classes now, but there was some time recently, either on a Sunday or I listened to a replay, when you were talking about the sincerity. And this is my view, but my view is that the sincerity is the main thing, not a sincerity of a person who wants to find something and it's very, personal, but sincerity in that really having a sensitivity and an openness and wanting to find out what it is, not words or knowledge. Like I think this is where Vinod is right, not words or knowledge in the usual sense of knowledge, but that if there's enough sincerity to somehow finding it, knowing that we don't know what it is ahead, we can't, or we would already have it, that there's something to be discovered here. I went on a bit, but there's a way in which I agree with what Vinod often tries to point to.
You're right. There is a lot of truth in what he's saying, that because the sincerity which was referred by you here is something which helps us to shred a lot of our either the hang-ups either on a guru or a scripture or a method, etc. It has to be, as I used to tell you, Artemisia, that this journey is a lonely journey. You are the only traveler in this in the trip or in the journey, and it is the you who will find the path as well as the destination. And that is exactly what I call by the word sincerity is, meaning as. And that if you are clear about it, that it is my journey and the destination is mine alone, that seals it. And then when you start your journey, then you are prepared for it. And you are not carrying the shastras or the guru or the teacher or anything. It is an inward looking journey where it's not a destination by space and time, but it is a destination by discarding everything which is required for the journey. Like your sense organs, your mind, your intellect, all these things are not required for this journey, which is an inward journey. When you discard all those things in your journey, is the time when you reach the destination.
Yes, thank you, Bindoji. We are at the halfway mark, so the chat and hand raising are open. There are a few questions in the chat, but they seem to be very abstract. Umapon has asked, if I may ask, our direct experiences with a few question marks. That's one question I can see. The rest are all statements. Arian has a statement which says, true intuition is a function of the soul. One accesses the soul through meditation. Then she says, this is not magical thinking, but higher thinking or access to greater knowing. So with reference to that, Binduji, how do you differentiate, going back to that earlier question about
Prakash,
thinking? Yes.
I hope you're not passing over Uma's question, because I think it's quite clear. Oh, and she's going to come up.
She's coming up.
Yeah, I think that's a very, it came first, so let's,
That's a good point.
Namaste. Namaste, Uma.
Binduji, everyone, namaste. I would like to come into the angle of the grammar is an art of letter, as I found out, with the link to the star and birthday and number and balance. Because the longest trip is from the head to the heart, and I just met another Thai Dharma teacher who teach from the Buddha teaching at the level that his blood already become relics. And yeah, to be at balance in speaking as if we all oneness. And direct experience is my question, like in this now. Is it eternal? As bliss state, at 0 point, as wisdom keeper and able to speak accordingly to the point of truth, because everything is present as nature. And in divine seeing, I do not see anything separate. But to speak up as me, that's the point of service to all. And in that, I notice all this with the keeper, they can be able to detect the subject of a sentence, because we all can speak. And the insight meditation is that eye of wisdom become eye of Dharma, and then understand what is important at this point of time. Because creation as Maya is more language, not just English to me. So independent origination, We all know that anatta is the point of no self, and from that, I let go to all words. And I learned from another couple teacher who taught for many years, and to think, therefore, creation happened in the mind, because there's a question to other, and in all question there is an answer, because nothing is louder than silence. And the person who speak up know already the word silent is never silent itself. And in that, so to project as I in me, I in you, I in it, I in now, and I in us, I bow to you all. Namaste.
So, may I ask you a question, Uma?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so when I listen to you, the way I see what you're doing, and I want you to tell me if this is true, is you're trying to use the creation and the indirect of language to actually speak something very directly, which is what you were sharing of from your own direct experience. Is that correct?
Yes, as is
Yes, it was very
now.
beautiful. You did a very good job.
Let's pause to come back to the same point,
Yes.
which is home.
So I don't know if people understand, everyone understands what just happened, but if you listen back carefully to the replay, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Uma, about this, but she was displaying, trying to use language in a much more honest way that can sound so obscure that it makes something like the Nasadiya Sukha seem like very obvious.
Yes, I would like to hear Binduji.
Yeah,
Because
Uma,
to
you
me,
have,
to listen to all elder, I feel humble. I just directly feel into your voice and your peace. And if I speak against that, I know I'm wrong, but I just want to ask if I'm doing the right thing.
you're doing the right thing. In fact, you expressed it in a way exactly like how a person who has done the inquiry and we have found the destination will explain, because it cannot be explained. So you have used it in such a way that for an ordinary person who has not taken the journey, it will look as if, what is Uma talking? I can't make head and tail of what she's telling. At the same time, those who have done the practice or those who have started the journey, for them, they can relate so much that, what you are saying is the truth, and there is no way one can tell. You have to become silent. And when you want to tell something, you can't be silent. You have to tell something. That is why you are using these words. And as far as the creation is concerned, what you mentioned is that the creation is an aberration, in my words. It's an aberration in the knowledge, a purity of knowledge. When it aberrated, the knowledge feels itself as many. The knowledge is not many. There is only one knowledge or one truth. And that when we are not able to understand in our own, in that serenity of being one, the oneness, expressions cannot come, because at that time there is no two to whom you will express. You can't express to yourself also, so you will become silent. But at the same time, there is a joy of being that, where a song like a humming or anything which can come may appear to be a statement of joy or an expression of joy. Others can take it as, you are talking about something which are incoherent from the point of view of ordinary language rules. But at the same time, what language can hold the happiness of being that oneness? No language can hold it. So the language which comes out may appear to be obscure or incorrigible. So this is a practical problem we all face when it comes to expressing the truth. So given an opportunity, I would like to be quiet, but at the same time, if I remain quiet, I won't be doing a justice for those who are looking for a path or a means to do this inquiry. So I do talk. I use the references. I talk from that point of view. But what you said is absolutely right.
And to help a little, because in bliss state, one person speak for all is going to be condemned, because that is the point of each one. But uniqueness, as we find karma, gameplay of samsara, reincarnation game, we have to go back to history and comparison to have a standpoint. And to me, it's more about being. And that divine presence is in us all. So if someone says something and we know that is not correct, we're going to say something in ourselves, because that is everyone the same piece from the inward of each religions, because like Buddhism have the term nirvana or Zen, or I don't know how many more languages to just trying to explain that one purity of each one of us. And in oneness, it's more like, how do we going to connect to that point that they're standing on? And the word is becoming a code, because it goes across language. It sounds like the same thing, but human body has DNA, has vibration and chakra and portal, and across the wisdom of timeline keeper, there is even more expansive. So, yeah, and if I go to that state, I have to use this knowledge of other teacher to explain. Like, one teacher, he explained the 16th state of jhana as the heart eye, the heart eye, Dharma eye, because it has to go back through time. 12/12 is the sun. 13/13 is the moon calendar. And the human avatar body through lifetime is a circle with Mother Nature. So anyone that go against the nature, divine law, it can be easy to detect in the field, because there's new language popping up and it's a merge between spiritual and science. But the beingness and the grammar of English is still the same. Subject, verb, and then object. And if anyone can just use the beingness language to express the emotional intelligence, because there's a point difference with a live being or a robot. That language that robot have going to be just 0 to 9, and when it speak it, it's going to sound like a pattern, algorithm, not alive. And I can hear it. I don't know that you can hear it or not. It's just between the heartbeat. And when we all speak, how I breathe is according to my DNA and my problem that I have in life. But nobody want to hear all of that. And at peace, to express or project as oneself is now going to be even more question because it's online. It's life. You don't know where I am. We have the missing information of each piece, but each piece has to find a way, even the piece that nobody wants. But the universe doesn't see it as problem at all. And if I go even more expansive, it's just like color games of the flow. And to become clear as water is the game now, because it's related to many timelines, and water is us. Like, I feel like if I keep talking, I'm going to get lost in my own seeing because the five senses is not enough. It has to be 360 degrees. And once it's turned inward completely, it's just music. I'm sorry if doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Thank you, Uma.
Yeah, you were just radiating what you used the words, the one purity. Yeah, a beautiful display of not trying to fit something into some explanation we've already been given, but that was very, very, very beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. I'm going to go back down to the safe space of just listening.
Thank you, Uma.
Thank you.
Prakash, you were asking some question?
No, it is with regards to, the Aryan is asking about greater thinking and greater thinking. I was wondering if, in the understanding of insight, so there is a difference between thinking and insight. I think the word used is prajna, right? So the prajna can get back into the loop of thought prajna. But how does it become sthita prajna? So maybe you can tell us some insights from what we have been in Bhagavad Gita, then the context of Bhagavad Gita.
So, with all due respect and a sense of humor, which I think is very important, Prakash and Aryan both.
Yes.
Because I know your sincerity and you're very beautiful, but I just want to notice how we've totally gone to the mundane level relative to what was just happening a minute ago. Like, if people can just notice that we've slipped right into exactly what Uma was saying, be careful of. So, but here we go. This is the way it goes. So now Bindu will answer the question and people will feel like they learned something.
Should I answer it?
Yes, Binduji. So the question is, so we get an insight, like what Uma shared, the insight. Now the insight is further described. She talked about the language of beingness. I'm wondering, in the pedagogy of Advaita and what you constantly strive to get very meticulous to that, so that we don't miss that essential aspect of transition. So the insight can simply remain a thought, or the insight can be a sthita prajna, the continuous insight. Can you share a few insights just to tie it up with what Uma has been offering?
See, what happens in our normal experiences, knowledge is the component ingrained in all experiences. If no experience is outside knowing or knowledge, but what happens is that in all that, the dependency on the words or names and forms, etc., to describe the experience becomes part of the knowledge. We cannot think about the substratum of that knowledge in which the words and the other things are being used for expression purpose. But an experience where you don't need any words, you have no content in that, and you have incapability of your using of senses to call it as a sensual experience, or to use your sense organs to express by words, etc. Even that is not possible. At the same time, it is an experience for you. I have to use the word experience, but it's not a word, the experience, but it is what is we call it as an insight or a revelation or a realization or being in a state. That state is called the Sthita Prajna.
Yes, thank you, Binduji. I think we have Jessie up on stage. Namaste, Jessie.
Namaste.
Namaste, Jessie. Namaste, Jessie.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. I'm fine. How are you?
I am well, thank you. And thank you for the beautiful questions and dialogue and the comments. Really happy to be held in this community. Thank you. My question, well, first I'll speak about my experience. I've been having so much fun in experimenting with the way that I orient myself to tasks and actions that's slightly different. It's more spacious. I'm reminding myself to not be swayed by either attraction or aversion to results. And in doing so, I am much more like content and more fulfilled in that sense of not judging the actions as much. So there is a flow. I remember a few months ago when we started the Bhagavad Gita study together, I talked about wanting to feel that flow of, like, you know, the skier going down the mountain or the professional dancer, and how we give over ourselves to the action. Well, that's happening. And the cool part about it is that it's providing me a place where in the offerings, my devotion is coming through stronger and stronger, which is a beautiful.
Beautiful.
It is absolutely beautiful. So here's my question. In one of my traditions, which is Christian, A Course in Miracles, that I have been with for many decades, there is a sense of I need to do something. And the reason is because when we're in equipoised, with equanimity in our quote unquote right mind of the decision maker, that there is a surrendering of action, which is kind of almost exactly the same of what we're doing here. But I'm starting to get these hints and flavors of being more guided, more intuition, more insight. And I just wondered if, Bindo, if you could please speak to that idea of how the Bhagavad Gita might speak to my heart of being, wanting to pay attention more to those really subtle, but those guidance impulses. That's my question. Thank you.
You see, Bhagavad Gita is giving very clear picture to us to see not only us, but everything where we interact. The objects, the method of interaction, and us to be in the same matter with which we are all made, or the same thing with which we are all made, or the same thing we are all in. And the surrender is total only
when there is no distinction. Otherwise, it is an offering. The difference between offering and surrender is when you don't have the otherness. When you have the othering, you offer. You offer to a church or to a temple or to offer to a good cause or anything. They are all separate from you. But when you are surrendering, there is no the otherness which is separated from you. You become part and parcel of that. What you are doing is you are doing it for yourself, but not yourself. Your own, what you call the otherness, which is no more the other for you, but your extended being. So that extended being, which was the other till then, now has become one as yourself. And that is the total surrender when we can do it. Whether it is in your job, whether you are going to the church and doing it, or whether you are doing it for a social cause, keep this picture in mind. There is nothing outside you. How nothing outside you? Because the whole outside, which was now being experienced as outside, has come about when you became an outsider to the world which was created by you yourself. It is from your thoughts or your knowledge or your consciousness or your awareness, the whole world has come out. And you placed yourself as other than the world in that world. You also created yourself as Jesse in a world where you are sharing with others. Where did all these things come from? When you were in deep sleep, none of these were there separate from you. You were everything. Or all this world, including you, the Jesse, merged into a unity in your deep sleep. And when you used your mind, you became Jesse and you created the world outside for interaction. When you know this is the process in which you are now making the role play of the otherness and you, that role play becomes what you call no more a role play. It becomes an act of acceptance that there is no difference between you and the world. Really speaking, there is in what you call a limitation when we try to express it in the surrender where there is no otherness. That cannot be brought in as a experience or an act. It is neither an experience nor an act, but a being of oneness. That's all it is there. And you can experience that Bhagavad Gita is going to teach. In fact, we already started telling about in the 24th verse, Brahmarpanam Brahmahavi. Everything is taught as Brahman only. Brahman means consciousness, awareness. Everything is, you cannot even have a tip of a pin which is outside awareness or consciousness. So everything is being, moving in awareness, consciousness or awareness, or existing in awareness, being awareness, in awareness, and the one who sees separatedness, he has the problem of the ego and his anger, all those issues of expectation and rejection, etc. But when you dissolve all of them into that is the equanimity or equipoise which you mentioned. In that equanimity, surrendering is not an act, not a what you call experience, but it's a being.
And so in the understanding, the distinction of the reflected consciousness versus pure being, If I feel that intuitive sense of guidance in surrender, that's okay. That just might be my particular characteristic or flavor, right? That's not going to take me off of, it's not going to hinder my learning. Correct?
Yes, it will not hinder.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Much love.
Thank you, Jessie.
A few more minutes, so if anybody wants to come up, now is the time. Or if somebody on the stage wants to ask another or bring a discussion point.
Okay. Since nobody's there coming, we can wind up.
I think Yash unmuted.
So, Binduji, would you be explaining the second yajna as you said in the upcoming verses once again? Or?
Yes. You'll have to wait till the 33rd verse. When it comes to Jnana Yajna, it will become clearer to you.
I was just asking from the class what I heard. The last class which you explained, and you explained the whole yajna. So I was only asking the understanding of that whole yajna once again, because it was too technical and
okay, I can Monday I can explain it once more.
Okay, thank you, Binduji. Yeah.
Thank you, Yash. Yeah, whenever you have a technical issue in understanding, don't hesitate. Please clarify, you ask and everything. Namaste, Mohammed.
Good evening. Yeah.
Good evening.
Yeah. I don't know what to ask. See, I know I'm not made myself. I am made. I didn't make me. I just made. And my body is functioning, still functioning. What is I? I am the body and is functioning. That is what is I. So whatever comes from me is the function of my body. And that body is not made by me. And it doesn't function. It doesn't function voluntarily. I mean, it is involuntary functioning. So the function is not by me. I am just obeying. I am doing nothing else. Isn't it? Isn't right? Am I right?
No, Mohammed. I will explain to you. There are two things. One, what we know is an object to us. You agree for that? If I know a flower is an object for me, and I am the knower of the flower. You agree, no?
See, whatever present here is, I think it is my view, whatever present here in this universe is just like me. It is not made by themselves.
No, I'll come to that.
It is being made.
I'll come to that. I'll come to that. before that, we have to go step by step. So what is known to me is an object and I am not the object. Who made it is, I will come to that later. Okay. So the flower is an object. The cow, the dog, the mountain, the sun, the moon, the planet, everything is object apart from me and I know it. Now, when coming to my body, you also use the word my body. You didn't say that I, the body. You use the word my body. Means you know, you see your body, you can experience your body. Even if your leg is amputated or your hand is amputated or your eye is removed or your ear become deaf, the I feeling in you is not getting reduced. Your function will get reduced. You may be able to use a structure and walk, or you may have to use an artificial hand for your hand purpose, or you may not be able to use your ears if it is gone, or if your eye is gone, like that. So everything in your body is also objects known to you. That means you are not the body. We always think that we are the body. Now the body, if you look at it, is made of all the material which is available on the surface of the earth. Like sodium, potassium, calcium, silica, everything, iron, magnesium, zinc, you name it, all those things are available in the earth as well as on the body. It has become to the part of the body because we eat that as a food and that is used in the body. So from a child, when we start eating, that material which is there on the surface of the earth as a form of food has come and that accumulated and our body grew. Now, when my body grew, the I which was there as a child, that I and the I which is now as an old man, that I feeling in me that I was a small boy, now I am an old man, that I has not undergone any change. Therefore, I am not the body. Now, let us also look at it. If I am not the body, then who am I? Okay. Now, for me, my experience of the whole, my experience is divided into just three. Waking, dreaming, and sleeping. Other than that, I have no experience. My childhood onward till now, I am experiencing is all the three only. As a child also, I had a waking, dreaming, and sleeping. As an old man also, I am having waking, dream, and sleeping. So what happens is that the body size has changed. My body requirements have changed. Like toys have become now something else for my body. But I have not made any requirement for these things. So when I am looking at these three experiences, who am I? Whether I am the experiencing person in the waking, or whether I am the experiencing person in the dream, or whether I am the person who was sleeping, I am not able to confirm which one I am then. But at the same time, I can say no, that I knew I was waking, I knew I was dreaming, I knew I was sleeping. When the three was known to me, I was not the waker when I am sleeping, I am not dreamer when I am waking. Like this. So when these three are changing, I was present, who was knowing waking, who was knowing dreaming, who was knowing deep sleep. Therefore, I, who is the knower, has to be different from the waking, dream, and deep sleep also. So who am I then in that case? Am I the one who has been created by somebody? Or am I the experience or the knower of things? The world is there, the experience of the body is there, the experience of waking, dream, and deep sleep is there. From this, how will I come to a conclusion? What is the reality or the truth? It has to start from a place where there is nothing or only one thing was available. That is our deep sleep. In the deep sleep, I had nothing else. Not even I knew I was Muhammad or I was Bindo or where I am sleeping, whether I am old man or young man, whether I am sleeping in Calicut or whether I am sleeping in Baroda. Nothing of these things I knew. But I cannot say I was not there. Because when I woke up, I said I had a good sleep. I knew nothing. So, there was nothing, but I was there. That I is now there in the waking. Calling myself as Muhammad or Bindo. And the whole world is there. So the world has come about for my experiencing as a waker, as the world of waking. When I was in the dream, the waking was not there. The waking world was not there. But I was a dreamer and there was a world of dream also. So who created the world of dreamer? And then I became a dreamer in that. There a lion jumped at me to kill and I woke up. Or I fell in from a place and I got hurt myself. When I woke up, I knew I fell from my cot and then I hurt myself. But in the dream, I fell at a different place. The world was different. Everything was different. Who created that dream world? My experiences in the dream was right. I was feeling hungry or I was feeling full. I saw rain. I got wet in the rain. All those things were happening in the dream also. Who created the world of dream? The same person is creating the waking also. Because I became a waker there and experiencing the waking world. When I was a dreamer, I was the dreamer and experiencing the dreaming world. So, who created the dream should be the one who created the waking also. Because I am not the one. I am also put in the waking as a waker. I am also put as a dreamer in the dream. So, it has to be somebody who is different from the waking and the dream, where there was nothing. What is to be assumed is that there is something from which everything has come about, the waking and the dream. There it was not I, because I was not present in the deep sleep. Because I knew I cannot say my name or place or my sex or location or anything. There was some energy or Chaitanya, what we call it as consciousness or awareness, which was present. And that awareness is what is now aware of the waker and the waking world. He is aware of the dreamer and the dream world. So we say that it is the awareness which is creating everything. And in the awareness, everything is being experienced as the experiencer, either as a waker or a dreamer. So the creation part is not Muhammad or Bindo who is created the waking world. There is an awareness or a consciousness which had become Bindo or Muhammad in the waking. And we were not Bindo or Muhammad, but in the dream we were there. We experienced our dream. My dream I experience, your dream you experience. Maybe we may see each other in our dream and talk also. But you may be in Kerala, I may be in Gujarat. But we will be sitting across one and having tea and discussing in the dream. All these things are possible. Somebody is creating that environment. So that is all happening in the consciousness or awareness. Apart from that, there is nothing which is happening or nothing which we can call. All that is really aware is the consciousness or the awareness, which is becoming the waker, Muhammad or Bindo and the waking world, or the dreamer and the dream world. This is what is the reality, which is, you can think about it and find out. Now coming to the name of God. God is experienced only in the waking. I am experiencing God in waking. So my God may be different, your God may be different. or Artemisia's God may be different, or Brecht's God may be different, or Uma's God may be different. It is all different because we are all different in waking. Therefore, we say different gods. But none of these gods were present in our dream when we were dreamer. There may be a different God or a different experience. We call it as. So what happens to the waking experience and the waking God and the waking creation? That is not applicable in the dream. So we cannot accept that it's a God who has created the waking, but God did not create the dream. No. The same God which created the waking is the same God which created the dream also, is the same God which is present in the deep sleep. You want to call it as a God, you call it as a God. We call it as consciousness. That is the only difference. But the thing is that if you think the God is separate from you, then you have a problem. Because then you have no control in waking, no control in dream. Same problem will happen in the deep sleep also. The God will be there in separate and you will be there. But did you know the God in the sleeping? No. There you and God became one. This is what we call it as the final, after the judgment, where will you go, is similar to the deep sleep. But we will not come back to the waker. We will not go to the dreamer again. That is the final judgment, or the religion, what the religion calls about the final judgment. But it is something which is happening every day to us. We are becoming our true self, and then we project the waking, we project the dream, and become the waker in the dream. This is what the creation, the experience, the expressions and all. Now you can ask me a question if you have a doubt.
It's talk is too long, so I followed you, but not fully. So I am thinking, I think it in a different way, because every being myself, that is the thought of I when I was a child, since the childhood till now, the I doesn't change. So that's all true. But it's all by the function of my body. Without body function, all these things will not happen. It will.
But Mohammed, did your body of the waking, was that body present in the dream?
Pardon?
Your body of the waking, is it present when you were dreaming, or you had a different body to experience?
Same body, but while sleeping, our body is there, but our brain is in a still. It's not functioning as if in our awakeness. So the position is different. So my body is same, but the functioning of the brain is different.
Okay, now I'll ask you one question. In the waking, you had an accident and you lost a leg. But after the treatment over, when you were dreaming, you were walking in your two legs and everything, doing everything. If it is the same body, in the dream, you cannot get back the leg which has been lost in the accident.
Sorry,
No. In the waking, if you lose something from your body, but in the dream, you may be having the item which you have lost, a hand or leg or something, but you will be in the dream, you will be experiencing everything. So how can you say your waking body is available in your dream?
That's all by it's all our brain, because of it's the functioning of our brain.
The brain which you are saying is functioning only in the waking. Where in the dream, in the dream, who says it is the same brain which is there working in the dream?
Brain is working, but not in the full swing. So brain is not dead. Nothing is dead.
See, that is why, Muhammad, the thing is that we have been conditioned by the waking world to believe in so many things. The waking is the saying that the waker is going to dream. The waker is the one who is sleeping. These are all the story of the waker. The waker has made a story that you are Muhammad and you have to believe in this. You have to now believe that this is your family. Now you believe that you are sleeping. You are this body, waking body is the one which is going to dream. It is the waking body which is in the deep sleep. And when you get up, you will have to say that I knew nothing is being told by the waking body. Everything we are building up based on the waking, because we are all in waking. But we have to think about waking also outside waking. As the one who knows the experience of waking, dream and deep sleep happening, like we going into 3 different rooms in our house. House is mine, but when I am in the house, in the bedroom, I cannot be in the dining room. When I am in the dining room, I cannot be in the living room. When I am going the 3 rooms, I know I am the one which is going into the 3 rooms, but the 3 rooms are separate for me. Same way, when I am coming to the waking world and experiencing the waking, I am saying I am a waker. But when I go to the dream, I experience my dream and the dreaming world. And same way, deep sleep. I am separate from the waker, dreamer and deep sleep because I know I am moving from one to another. That knowledge is there with me. Therefore, I cannot be the waker alone, nor the dreamer alone, nor the deep sleeper alone. But I must be the one which is present all the 3 and separate from the 3.
Okay.
Think about it. We can discuss it again. Next time when you come, next Sunday you come, we can discuss. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
No urgency. You think about it and sit quiet one side. And there is no pressure, nothing. If you want to accept it, accept. If you are not accepting it, next Sunday come back and tell me, Bindoji, I am not accepting because of this reason. I don't think you are saying right thing. I am ready to hear from you because I may be learning a new thing from you. I am ready to accept it if I have made a mistake. Okay?
See, I have been watching the videos of
Nochur Venkatraman.
See, I am fully following his speeches. See, I understand what he's saying, what he was saying. So I don't have any doubt in that because it is very clear to me. So I understand these things. But just now I just asked you the question.
I also understood. I am seeing you here. I am seeing in Vedanta Velichapadu, and I've heard you talking also. And from that, I know that you have been listening to Nochur and you have understood what he has spoken and everything. I appreciate that. But your sincerity to know the truth is what has interested me, that you are a person who want to know the truth. And that your questions are coming from that point of view. That way I appreciate it. And I am ready to travel with you, walk with you, explain the doubts you have so that you have a clarity in your thinking. But the thinking will have to be done by you. I can't do that for you.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mohammed.
Thank you.
Prakash, we'll close the room.
Yes, Minjodi. Thank you everyone for coming. So today was the open discussion room. So if you want to catch up on the replay, you can go into the Clubhouse replays, or in a day or two it will be uploaded onto the Advaita YouTube channel called Advaita Retold. YouTube channel. But the regular sessions are on Bhagavad Gita, starting again tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. IST, where Bindoji will be continuing with chapter 4, going deeper into the aspect of Yajna. And I think Buzz has a question. Buzz, since we are out of time, unless and until Bindoji has time now, but I think we are out of time because it is 10:45. It's 10:30 we usually close. So you can come the next week and maybe ask, hold your questions, sharpen it, do some practice, and then come with a sharp question next week. Thank you everyone for coming, and especially Bindoji for taking your time to take us through this deep aspect of Shravana Manana, practice of meditation, what is Advaita. As always, grateful to you, and over to you to close the room, Bindoji.
Thank you, Prakash. Thank you, Atmishya. Thank you, Yash, Srini, Jesse, and Uma, and Mohammed, who had come and asked the question. Bus, I saw what you are chatting, but unfortunately I don't have time today. You can come next Sunday for the open house. We will discuss on that. See you all tomorrow for the Bhagavad Gita and next Sunday for the open house. Hari Om. Good night.
Good night. Hari Om.